Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Courtney Peak. I'm the head of support here at Precise FP. Today, we're going to be talking about how to make your form templates stand out. Very excited to go over this topic with you all. Before we do get started, just a little housekeeping to let everybody know that you are on mute. But if you have any questions, go ahead and pop those right in that GoToWebinar control panel. We should have some time at the end of the webinar to go over any questions that you may have a little Q&A session. I'm also recording the session, so it will be sent out to everybody about an hour after the webinar ends. All right, this is a lot of information in this webinar, so let's go ahead and get started with just kind of talking about some of the things or points that we're going to be focusing on today. A lot of really cool things that you can do within your form templates to really make them to stand out, excuse me. Things like using conditional visibility. So like if you have a yes or no question and when the client marks yes, maybe you want another set of questions or maybe an image or something else to appear when they mark yes. How to use smart links. Smart links are such a cool feature. We actually had an advisor recommend us creating this, and our development team created smart links. So it allows you to make some graphical elements in your template dependent on kind of client prospect data. So like if you define a graphical element in a template, the element will actually be shown as is in all of your engagements. And you can create a button, embed a video, add a download or a PDF viewer, and these elements will be shown as you define them regardless of who you're engaging, excuse me. Basically, those work to really kind of allow you to link a graphical element with a compatible input element, such as like a text field or a document upload field. So it's a really cool feature. I've seen some advisors, just to kind of give you some examples of what I've seen them use smart links for, is they use like a video element that will appear based on like certain text that they put in the client profile. It's just such a cool feature, and I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. Also adding colors. You can really add a lot of cool colors in different ways in your forms. You can change the text in various places on your templates. You can add images that, you know, especially if you work in like a niche forward kind of process. Like I've got some advisors who work specifically with nurses or airline pilots. So they create kind of imagery around their niche or their specialty. So we'll go through all of that today. So let me go ahead and actually, what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to switch my screen over. So bear with me here. So we're going to go right into the Precise FP dashboard. So one moment here while I switch my screens around. There we go. Okay, so now what we're looking at is the Precise FP dashboard. So what I always like to kind of show folks, especially those who maybe are getting started with Precise FP, is our form library. This is where you're going to find a lot of our, well, basically all of our templates that we have available at the moment. And these are really great to explore. So I always recommend, especially when I'm talking to people who are getting started with the platform, to take some time and explore the library, because you may find that what you're looking for is already here and developed. But the beauty of Precise FP is we are a fully customizable solution. And I hope to show you that today with some of these really cool features that you can do on a form template. So the form library, again, has a lot that's already pre-built out here. You can look under specific categories. Maybe you're looking at a lead gen. We've got a few out here, some that have like a freemium type or just like a financial consultation and so much more. So you can definitely take a look and use any of these. You can customize these. The sky is really, really the limit. And again, hopefully we can show you that with this webinar today. Now, another thing is we're going to focus really in the editor. So a lot of what we're going to be doing today is really in the editor, all these little things that you can do within your form template. Like I was mentioning earlier, like conditional visibility and changing the colors, etc. So let's go back to the form library real quick here. I'm just going to pick one of the fact finders. I'm just going to pick this simple household structure template. I'm going to use that as kind of my guinea pig today, and I am going to customize this. So I'm installing it. Now I've got it installed under my templates. Anything under my templates is basically your own library. So something that you've either installed from the library or maybe a form that you've created on your own. So you don't necessarily have to use anything from our library. You know, you can come out here and it's good to have kind of a base to start with from the library, but you're more than welcome to come out here and kind of build from the ground up if you wanted to. I've seen a lot of advisors do that too. So that's something you can definitely, don't feel like you have to use our library. But let's go in here and let's start customizing this. So right off the bat, when we install a form, you'll see this little thumbnail picture up here. Keep in mind, this is not something that is shown to your clients. This is just for internal purposes. So you're welcome to keep the image that we have, or if you create your own form template, you can upload your own image. Something that you can do here on the template details, if you click on the edit, if you want to change the name of the form, you can do that. That is seen by the client. The description is for internal purposes only. So if you maybe create like different versions of a specific fact finder, maybe you want to put a note out here for yourself, or maybe your members on your team who are also going to be using this form, that it's for a specific purpose. You can also kind of categorize your forms that are under my template. So you've got our defaults, and maybe you create your own category if you want to as well. Security level is just that. It's the level of security for this particular form. A high security level means that the client is actually going to have to authenticate him or herself in order to get into that form. Low security means low security, meaning that they actually do not have to authenticate. That's something that I would reserve for something like maybe a survey or a lead gen piece. Fact finders are a great example of something that I would highly recommend keeping at a high security level, because the client's data can pre-fill out there. We wouldn't want anybody to just have access to that. Those fact finders usually work with our integration partners. They're usually capturing sensitive data. So we definitely take capturing that secure data for your clients very seriously. So high security level is definitely the way to go with something like that. And then status, enabled, disabled. This comes into play if you really like create a form and maybe don't need to use it right now and don't want it to get mixed in with your My Templates. You can click on disabled and it hides it from your forms that are active or enabled under My Templates. So that is the edits. The other thing that you can do here is copy a template. So if you have this form and you want to make another version of it, that's, you know, maybe you need to do some tweaks on it for another situation, or maybe you're customizing a form on an individual client level. Whatever the situation may be, you can make a copy of it, change the name, change the security level if need be. The other things that you can do here is share the form. So this, like I was mentioning, if you create a form and want others under your team to use it, you have the option to share this. You can allow them to make copies of it, which would basically allow them to make the copy and make an edit on that copy. Or if you want them to just use the version that you have created, you'll mark that as no. If you want to share this with everyone, it defaults to everyone, or maybe you have more than one team on your account and you only want to share it with a specific team. You can configure the sharing there. And then lastly, you've got the remove. Pretty simple. You can remove the form. You have to enter in your precise FP password to remove the form. If you do that, please note that it does purge it from the system and it cannot be retrieved. Let's go into the editor now, which is this big customize button. This is going to show you the layout of this form template. So along the right-hand side here, you've got your pages. You can click on each page. It will show you what is on that page. Now, this is really where you could make the magic happen with having your form templates really stand out. So this is an example. This form that I'm using here is an example of a high security level form. Now, again, one way that you can actually see that is you can click on the form template details and see the security level here. Another way that you can tell it is high security is because it's going to have a welcome page. The welcome page on the high security level forms is there by design, and it cannot be removed, because when you get the link to the form to the client, whether by email out of Precise FP, out of your own email, or on your website, this is what they see, sort of like a landing page to the form. So this is a great place for you to maybe, brand it, or put your own customized text here just to kind of, welcome the client to the form, introduce them to the form, kind of give them a quick explanation of what this form is. I've even seen advisors put specific instructions on here, like when you're ready to start, click the start button. Also, I've seen them put a note that says, the form auto saves, just, things like that, just to kind of give you some ideas. So this is what they see. And then when they click on start, then they're required to authenticate. So the editor is nice because it really makes it so that the form is displaying exactly how the client is going to see it, minus the outlines and things like that. So going into the first page of the form here, which happens to be the About Me page, we've also got this form here called Household Members. Now this page here, this Household Members page, is actually already created to set up for conditional visibility. Like I was giving that example earlier of, maybe having a yes or no question and you want something to appear when they mark yes, for example. This is an example of conditional visibility. Let me just do a quick preview of that for you here so you can see what I'm referring to. So here's what that household members page is going to look like to your client when they get to this page. We ask them yes or no questions here. Do you have children? Do you have any other relatives in your household? If the client marks no, they can finish the form and they can move on. But if they mark yes, then this section appears and allows them to go out here and fill out their children's information. This is a really great way to really kind of make the form more user-friendly for the client, really make it so that you're only putting, it's only putting in front of them things that are applicable to them, right? Another great example of a form, I'm gonna be switching a lot back and forth here, folks, so bear with me. Another great example of a form template that we have that has conditional visibility set up in it, this is one of my personal favorite fact finders that we have, is this quick fact finder. And this is a very popular form amongst advisors as well. This is just so great. I'm going to show you what I'm referring to here. So this one is set up with conditional visibility throughout the entire form. So we get to the family members page, same principle there. They mark yes, then that children's section appears. But then the rest of the form is set up that way too. This makes it so it's just so much user friendly for the client. Instead of, having all of these sections kind of, just open on the form, instead it puts it as a checkbox at the top of the form for the client. So the client may not know what half of these are, but they know that they have a 401k plan. So they can check that box, and then the form is responsive based on their selection. So in this case, they marked the 401k box, and the 401k box opened for them. So now the client can go through here and enter their 401k information. And it's like this through the rest of the pages of this form. So here we are on the insurance page. Same thing, they check the boxes and then those sections appear for them automatically, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you how you can set that up on your form template. Now, please keep in mind that you do not have to, it's not limited to just being a yes or no question. I always think it's kind of, people think that it's just limited to that, but it's really not. As you saw in that quick fact finder, we set it up with 401k in the insurance sections. I've seen some advisors who they'll create a service agreement in Precise FP, and maybe they offer 2 different types of services for their clients. So then they check, the client's going to be doing this type of service, and then they have a box open up that displays, the fee that's going to be charged for that service. So there's definitely a lot of ways that you can use the conditional visibility there. So definitely something that you can do. I saw a question just come in. I wanted to address that while we're here. Somebody asked, does the quick fact finder populate e-money? Can you export data? Yes, it does. Even though it doesn't say it's optimized for e-money, like our e-money fact finder does, you can still use that quick fact finder. And a lot of the fields that work, or export with the integration partners are found within that form. There are quite a few extra fields on that quick fact finder that do not work with the integration partners. And what happens with that data is it just stays in Precise FP versus exporting. So to answer your question, yes, you absolutely could use that quick fact finder with integrations like with eMoney. So let me go into the editor here. I want to quickly show you guys how we can set up conditional visibility. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove the condition that is already here on this, and I am going to basically just kind of start from scratch so you guys can see that. Let me go ahead and I'm going to, let's say I don't have my yes or no question here. I want to create one on my form template. So I'm going to click in this empty cell. If you do not have an empty cell to add a new field in, you can always add one. Just click on any field that already exists in the group, and then you can either add a new cell to the right, or you can add a new cell down below. So anywhere now you have an empty cell, you can click on, let me delete these empties that I just made here. So you can click on the plus sign and then click on new element. And then for this one, I am just going to use a multiple option. So a multiple option, or you could use a drop down field. I'll show you some other tips and tricks here too, because you're not limited to just using these, but I'll show you something else that you can do. So let's create the question here. Do you have children? And then we want to give them values that they can actually choose from. So we want to say yes as one answer, or no. Now what's going to come into play here is when we click on the advanced editor, these values here, which if you do not assign something to the value, it will just kind of pull what you use here in the label. So just keep in mind, if you have longer answers, it will start kind of changing things around for you. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can always come out here and change the values. So like if I wanted to change this to a 1 or a 2, it's just each value has to be different from, you can't have the same value twice is the only thing. So I'll show you where this comes into play. I'm going to create this here, and I can make this mandatory if I want to make my client click yes or no, I can do that, but I'm going to click on create. So now I have that question, right? I've got the yes or no question. And right now, if I preview this form and I go to that household members page, that children's section appears, right? I want to make that so this only fires when the yes option is selected. So I want to take this entire group here and I want to make this conditional. So I'm going to hover over the group, and on the group details here on the right, what I'm going to do is under visibility, I'm going to choose configure, and I'm going to, under visible only when, select the field that I want to be the trigger for this. So I'm going to choose my do you have children, and this is where that value comes into play. Now, if you don't remember what the value is, or you don't know what the value is, click on this show allowed values link right here, and then it's going to show you that the yes answer is a value 1. So if I put 1 here, that means when the client clicks on yes here, then this group is going to appear. And you'll be able to see here that this little icon with the eye appears to let you know that this group is conditional. Now you're not limited to setting an entire group to be conditional. You can actually set individual fields to be conditional, or if you even want to set an entire page to be conditional based on something, that's something that you can do as well. So now let's take a preview again and see and make sure that the work that we did is correct. So now that children's section is not appearing. If we mark no, nothing happens. But if we mark yes, then that section appears. So that is how you do conditional visibility. Again, you are not limited to just doing that at the group level. Let me go ahead and go back here and pull up the smart, or actually, I just thought of another template that I wanted to show you folks that does have conditional visibility set at the page level. This one here, this is one of our actual newer templates that we have created a couple months ago. This was, again, something that came through as a suggestion from one of our advisors. So this one is great. This one you can actually, you can set fields or pages or groups to actually only be shown to you as the advisor and not the client. So this one is set up that way. So this section here is great, and this form is great, especially if you're trying to, you know, maybe you're engaging a client that has, you know, a specific situation, like maybe by conversation, you know that they don't have children. So you could actually just check the page, and notice down here, folks, when I start checking these boxes, my page number is going to increase. So as I keep checking boxes, those pages that I'm selecting here are being added to the form. So now when I go and I look through the form, I can see, okay, there's the personal details, there's the employment and income, so on and so forth. There's the pages that I want my client to fill out on this form. So this is great too. This is another one that you can certainly use. Again, you can use this with the integration partners too. Same thing like the quick fact finder. You don't have to use the eMoney fact finder. This does have the fields that do map to all of the integration boxes, or excuse me, the integration fields on it, and then some. So the fields that don't map to the integration partner would just not go, they would stay in precise FP. So this is great if you want to do this. You would have to check the boxes every time that you engaged a client with this. So, you know, maybe not using this every single time with every single client, but this would be great, like I said, especially for, you know, those situations where, like I was, you know, saying earlier, that situation where maybe, you know, the client doesn't have family members, or not children, for example. So you could just not check that box and check the rest. This allows you to really on the fly make a tailor-made fact finder for your clients and prospects without you having to go and, like, you know, create one every single time with every single person's kind of unique situation. So this is a great one for kind of those situations where you come across, you know, a client or prospect that has those unique situations. So that's something you can do and use as well. So that's another great example of a form that has conditional visibility there. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to kind of show you guys is back into the editor here. A lot of times we get asked, you know, can I change the font? Can I change the colors? Yes, absolutely you can. It's while you're here in the editor, you'll click this little teardrop icon at the top here. And this is, we do have a couple of preloaded themes out here where you can actually come out here and change up things this way, kind of, you know, slightly make some changes that way if you want. And then the colors, so like if you've got a specific hex code for like your logo, you can actually come out here and you can input that and it will change it to that specific color. So my favorite color is purple, so I'm going to just change the color here just so you can kind of see. So now I've got this nice purple going on here. Maybe that's part of my logo, and I can kind of, you know, make my my form match, you know, my logo and things like that. So changing fonts is also something that you can do. Changing font size is also something that you can do. So you can really change it, as you can see, if you want to have you know, your headers be a different kind of color, and just so much that you can change out here. And then backgrounds and borders. So if you want the form to have a background color or a different border color. Maybe you want your calculated fields to be a different color. And then other settings here. You've got a lot of other settings that you can do. You can choose to, on the authentication page, show your logo, show your contact information. This is all by default. So, you know, this information is always going to be shown unless you come out here and say, no, I don't want to show it. Pop-up photo, you can have your photo appear on pop-up messages. So there's a lot that you can change out here when it comes to coloring. Now, the pop-up messages is another great way to, like I was mentioning here on like the welcome page, adding some text, like some instructions and things like that. The pop-up messages that you can add at the page level is another really great way to do just that. So when you're on your page, up here at the top, click on this pencil icon at the top here, and this is where you can put in a pop-up message. So you can actually put in macros. So if you want to put like the client's first name, maybe say something like, hi, client first name, you know, don't forget to check the boxes or something like that. Maybe it's maybe you've got a page that the client, you're asking the client to upload statements. Maybe you got an upload field on there. This would be a great opportunity for you to just kind of add a little message that pops up in the upper right hand corner, and I'll show you what that looks like here. So let me go to that page, and then here. So you can have your, you know, your profile picture or your logo up here, and their name would populate here. So it's just, again, another great way just to add some personalization, a nice little touch to your form, so it makes it look like you're talking to your client there, and they can always close out of that and that message disappears there. So that's something that you can add to. I see a lot of advisors doing that. So that's a pop-up message. That's something that you can also do. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys that we get asked about a lot is how I change the messaging. Like on, maybe I don't want to call the start button the start button. Maybe I want to call it something else. Same with like the finish button, or you know, the forgot password. Maybe I want to call that something else. So the form template translations is where you can change a lot of that. As you can see here, there's a lot already here by default, but you're more than welcome to come out here and change any of this. So when they get blocked, you can change the messaging that's there. When they close an engagement and they try to access it again, maybe you want the messaging to be something else. Related to documents, if you're doing like at the end, if you have an e-signature on your form and they can download the documents, maybe you want that to say something else. So this is definitely something I would recommend coming out here and taking a look at. So again, if you want any of this to be changed, you can definitely come out here and you can do that here. All right, so that is template translations. That was definitely something I wanted to show you folks on how you can do. What I also wanted to show you too was how you can add like images, like I was mentioning earlier. I've got a lot of advisors who are very niche specific in their practice. So for example, like I've seen advisors who work strictly with, you know, nurses or airline pilots. You know, things like that. They come out here and they add, you know, imagery throughout their form templates to really just, you know, make it look like, yes, this is my advisor. This is, I know this is, you know, him or her, and you know, I can see the little airplane, or I can see the nurse, or I can see the teacher. Or, you know, just really kind of carries the message from, you know, maybe your website to your form templates and so on and so forth. So what I always recommend to people, if you are looking for some images, you know, maybe you're, you know, getting started and maybe you don't have a web developer, whatever the situation may be, there is this free website where you can get free images. I use it a lot when I'm doing like presentations and things like that. unsplash.com. So you can get free images here. So this is definitely something you could use. Again, if you don't have like your own images that you can use, you can come out here and use images from something like this. And then they're all free, so you can download them. And then what you'll be able to do is back on your form template, you can add an image anywhere. You can add it anywhere. You can add it on the welcome page. Maybe you want to add an image on every single page of your form, maybe on your thank you page. You can drop an image anywhere. So again, just new element, and then what you'll do is under graphical elements, you're going to choose the image, and then you're basically going to just click the box, and what it will do is it will allow you to basically choose an image off of your computer. So like if I choose one of my images here, look at this nice palm tree one that I have. I choose that, and then I click on create, and then it basically just puts your image right there on the form. And then you can, change the size of it if you want to. So that's something that you can definitely do too. Add a little pizzazz to your forms. And like I said, you can really do a lot. You can really do a lot. Another thing that I wanted to let you guys know too is with the emails. You can customize the emails that accompany this form template by clicking on the envelope icon there in the top. And these pull from your defaults, so you can actually see your defaults by going to settings. And then under your teams, what you'll do is you'll click on your team, and then you'll click under email settings. So here is where you can actually upload your logo. If you want to change the button color for the buttons that appear on the emails, you can do that here. And then if you need to add like an email disclaimer, you can put that here too, and that will actually accompany all of the email messages that go out of Precise FP, which are just 3. They're the new engagement email, the periodic email reminder, and the thank you email, which are all customizable, and they can all be, disabled or enabled, whichever you prefer. And you can always BCC as well. So if you need to have a copy for archiving, you could have that go out to a BCC email, whichever you choose there. So that's something that you can also do, is set up your emails here on a global level. And then any time that you send out or create a form, it's automatically set up to be whatever your global settings are. But maybe you want to have different messaging for this specific form. That's where you can come out here and you can do this. So anytime you email out, it's going to be branded and things like that. So another thing that I wanted to bring up too, I just thought of it. Sometimes people ask me, well, how do I add like we've got a small little disclosure statement that we've got to put on, every page of our form. So basically what you're looking for is static text. How do you add static text to your form? And it's just like this box here that we're seeing that I've got highlighted. This is a text box element, and this is something that you can add on every single page if you wanted to as well. Basically just add a new element, and under graphical elements, you're going to do text box. So this is just going to be where you can come out here and you can free type. So I can go out here and I can add text, and it's just static text that the client's able to see and read. It's not a field that they are going to be interacting with. It's just straight text that they are going to read. So that's how you can go out there and you could do something like adding your own disclaimer, information like that you want the client to be able to just read. A great example of a form template that that has a lot of text on it that the client needs to just read is a service agreement. So this is an example of a form that's got a lot of text boxes on it here. So with a few other fields kind of sprinkled in there, as you can see, we got some check boxes, but this is all just a text box, folks. This is a text box element that we just kind of pasted verbiage into, and boom, now we've got static text there that the client reads. So that's something that you can do too. Another really cool thing that I've seen advisors do too is Well, actually, let me go back to the service agreement. I've got one installed here. What I've seen some advisors do who are maybe using Persuasive P as a service agreement solution is they do something like this. They customize it a bit, and you got to get your Form ADV out to your clients and your privacy policy. So we've got this element here. Let me show you. It's called, under graphical elements, it's called a document download. So with this, what you're doing is you're choosing a document from your computer, and it's basically building a button. So on this one here, that's exactly what I did. I grabbed my Form ADV and I chose the text that I wanted on the button. So then when my client actually clicks on this button, it downloads that document that I have attached there. So I could do the same thing here. So I could here do a document download. I can grab my privacy policy document, and I could put something like that says, click here to download my privacy policy. Now, we cannot force the client to download something, but what I've seen advisors do is something like this: create a multiple option field that is mandatory. They have to check a box. We have these already here by default in our agreement. So what I've seen some advisors do is they actually remove the "we do not confirm" receipt and just make the one field appear there. So they have to click on that. And then you've got in your history that they did click on that button, that they did confirm receipt of it. So that's something that you can also add to your forms too, to have them download something that you need to send out to them. So that is something that you could actually use. That's a great way to kind of segue into the smart links. That's something that you could use the smart links for. You could actually create a smart link to a graphical element like that. So what you could do is, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example that I've seen an advisor do. What I've seen an advisor do is, so he creates like certain reports for clients. I forget what it was, so I apologize, but he created specific client reports. And what he did is he created a smart link, and he created a field in the client profile and smart linked the actual document download on the form. So then when he posted their specific file in their profile, that specific client got their specific document. So just to kind of show you that here, what we'll do is we'll create a smart link for a document download. So we'll go to our data set here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create, I'm going to go to my my personal details page here in the data set. And what I'm going to do, once this loads, it always goes slow for me when I'm doing Zoom or GoToMeeting, so I apologize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a document right here. I'm gonna go here and do a document upload. And place, I'm gonna say maybe report or something like that. I'm gonna do that, document upload. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go to my template, and I'm gonna use this household structure one here. And under the personal details, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create right here a document. Make sure I'm doing this right here. So we got to do document download. We do client report, and then we'll do smart link, and we're going to search for the smart link. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I didn't put it in the right group. That's right, you got to make sure it's in the right group and all of that. Basically, what it is going to do is, so let's say I prepare this form for a client. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my client, and in their profile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload their report here. And then I can go to my next client and I can go into their profile, and then I can upload their report here, their specific client report that is specific to them. And then what I can do is actually I'm going to go to maybe all of my clients. So after I upload maybe that specific report for all of those people, what I can do is now I can engage everybody or just select the ones that I want to with that specific form that has the smart link. So what happens is the smart link is going to appear because I have something uploaded in that upload field. I'm actually going to, sorry, I was having some system issues there. What I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put in the chat, I am going to put a link to the Smart Links help article and show you, and that'll show you, walk you through how you can create a smart, because you can create a smart link off of a document download, a PDF viewer. Maybe you want a specific PDF for the client to appear. Maybe you want to build a button or even a video. I've seen some advisors do that. They create, like on Loom, for example, they'll create a client specific video that they want to appear for that given client. So they'll create their video, they will make their smart link, and then that video appears. It's really cool. We actually had, let me go to our YouTube channel real quick here, because we did have an advisor who, and it was actually the advisor who suggested that we do the smart links. It was so cool to have this webinar with him, but he actually creates personalized videos for his client, and he uses the smart links to deliver those. If you go to our YouTube channel, so if you go to YouTube, search Precise FP, you'll find our channel here. And let me find that video that I want you guys, this one right here, this one with the little fella on the computer. This one is one that I recommend, especially if you're thinking about using videos for your clients, personalized videos. You want to use maybe Precise FP to deliver those. This is a great webinar that talks about how to do that using those smart links. So that's something you can definitely do, something I would recommend checking out. All right, folks, so I know that was kind of a lot of information to throw at you guys, but hopefully that gives you some inspiration to kind of take back and go a little deeper into customizing your form templates, add some personalization to them, things like that, that can really, make your form templates, stand out. I saw some questions go through, so let's go ahead and go over those because we do have some time. So bear with me here. Let me pull those up real quick. All right. Oh yeah, a lot of great questions here. So thank you all. If you guys have any questions, definitely put those in the GoToWebinar control panel. I'll be happy to take the time now to go over those. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I saw someone ask, this was about the, I think that dynamic fact finder that I was working on. You asked, do you have to check the boxes each time you send it? Yes. In that case, you would have to check the boxes. So like I was saying, that dynamic fact finder may not be something that you want to send every single time. I think that one is really great for, situations where, the client doesn't have applicable, things that are not going to need to be shown to them on the form template. So you can easily just not add those to it. Somebody said, can we add an image as a watermark? Well, if you have an image that's watermarked, you can certainly add that. Somebody asked for the thank you email. Is there a way to have it automatically customize it from one of the responses in the form? Nope, there isn't a way to do that. Let's see. Are you able to create a document to be downloaded that pulls in completed fields from the engagement? Is that something that you're looking to maybe have sent out to the client? If so, no. If you want to have the ability to have the client maybe download their completed engagement afterwards, and let's say well, let me show you. So on forms where you have the e-signature element on it, there is going to be an option to, and this displays automatically at the end of the form. There's an option that will say, you know, click here to download your signed form. If you want the ability to have the client, you know, download their form at the end and you don't have an e-signature option, I actually have kind of like a little hack for you, if you will, that you can add to allow them to do that. So on the thank you page, what you can do is you can actually create show you here, a button element. In the URL, what you're going to put is you're going to put PFP, oops, and then print. Oops, this is lowercase, sorry, print. And then what you can do here is you can say, click here to download your completed form or something like that. And then what happens is when they click this, it downloads the entire engagement for them. So a little hack for you there. I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to, but that's something that you can do on your forms. Let's see. I often pre-populate forms before sending to clients. When entering items, would that allow more additions like list of children, accounts, beneficiaries? I find that clients are missing the additions. I'd love to see these auto-expanded if data exists in these sections, like conditional items work. Oh, I know what you're referring to. So like if they have more than one children already on file, those sections come collapsed. So you want those to all be expanded if they've got more than one client on file. That is something that I know has been passed over to the dev team. So I'll definitely let them know that we've got another person that's interested in that. Let's see, where clients must click that they received a Form ADV or privacy policy, is it possible to require the document to be downloaded before they are able to click that radio button? So no, we do not have the ability to force them to click on that download, unfortunately. So like I was mentioning, just kind of the workaround that I've seen people do is they create that multiple option element and says, you know, we confirm receipt of that, and make that field mandatory so they cannot skip over and complete the form until that field is marked. So I mean, other than that, there's not a way to make them download something, but that may be something that you could do. Now, going back to mandatory fields, something that you can do there. Now, by default, if you make a field mandatory, what happens is they can actually progress to the next page. When they get to the end and they click on finish and they missed a mandatory field, it redirects them back to that page. If you want to avoid that, if you want to avoid having them progress to the next page, then that is something that you can do. You can actually do that here in the form template details. And what you can do here is this prevent navigation when validation fails, mark that as enabled, and that will take care of that for you. So that'll make it so that when, again, if you've got a mandatory field on the page and they try to click on next, if they haven't filled out anything in that mandatory field, it will not let them move to the next field. So that's something that you could do too, if you wanted to. That printing hack is great. What others like that do you have up your Thank you for that. My dev team actually showed me that hack. I'm looking at my tech board here, and that is all that I have at this point in time as far as little hacks. But that is a really great one. That's definitely one that I've pulled out of pulled out a few times because I've got a lot of advisors who like doing that. They like having that option for the client to be able to download their form, and that makes it so that you don't have to do it for them, right? So you could add that there, they click on it, and that takes care of that for you. If a signature field is required, Can I use a field to hide the spouse signature if only a client with no spouse? Yeah, you can do that with a co-client enabled page. And this is something like if you're building something like an agreement, this is something that I always recommend as kind of best practice, is make your signature page. So let me just build a new page on my form here. I'll call it signatures. And what I'll do here is when I'm building the page, this spot here, display co-client area or button, make that enabled and then click on create. So now what I'm going to do is I've got a blank page. I've got to build a group. So maybe I'll call this signatures. There we go. And I'll click on create. So now what I can do here is I can lay down a signature element, an e-signature element. So I can say something like, please sign here, right? So I can click on make that mandatory if I want to. You don't have to. So you're thinking, okay, well, how does, there's only one signature spot, how does this work when there's a spouse? That's where this co-client page comes in. So what happens is when you've got the co-client enabled on the page, and you could tell I do because when you're in the editor here, it looks like a contact card on the left of it, where this one is not set up. And to show you what that looks like here, when I do a preview of this, so I'm doing a preview, you'll see the page is singular, but if I add a co-client to this, right, I click on add co-client, everything on this page duplicates over again for another individual to be entered, aka the co-client. So that signature page will work the same way. If you have a just a single person, obviously that's not going to come into play. They're not going to have a co-client, right? So there's going to be nothing entered there, right? So in this case, if it's just me, I didn't have a spouse, partner, significant other, I wouldn't click on add co-client. I would just be able to add my signature there. But if you engage somebody that has a co-client on file already, then this spot is already automatically going to be there for them, and it will have their name here and the client's name here. So they know the client signs there, the co-client signs there. So that's what I would do when you have something like that in that situation where you have signatures on your form and you want the signature, to only appear for the co-client. If there is a co-client on file, set it at the page level, create a signatures page, make the co-client enabled on that. So then automatically, if you're sending it to a single person, there's just going to be one signature spot. If there is a co-client, then this duplicates over and there's going to be a spot for the co-client to sign. So hopefully that answers that for you there. All right, well, I didn't see any other questions come through. You guys had a lot of great questions today. Again, I hope that was helpful, gave you some inspiration for going out there and sprucing up your templates. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns afterwards, you can always reach myself, my support team. We've got the live chat. That's the best way to get a hold of us. Just in the app, click on the green chat icon in the lower right-hand corner. We're happy to help. I've got another bunch of links out there to help you too. YouTube channels, definitely something I would recommend checking out. There's a lot of great content out there, such as something like I'm doing today. I've got one about the template editor, so you can check out that at your leisure there. So I want to thank you all for taking time out of your Tuesday afternoon to join me today. I hope everyone has a great afternoon. Stay safe and let us know if any other questions will happen to come up. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.